Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to another episode of the Hog Talk podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are coming to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I'm Porter Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. And on tonight's show, it's all Sweet 16 talk as Arkansas defeated High Point 94-88. They will be matched up against the Arizona Wildcats in the Sweet 16. Adam, get right to it. Nail biter. High Point gave them everything they wanted and more. Got very, very close there at the end. But again, Darius Acuff proved why he is the best player in college basketball. Go talk to your mama about that, because I just don't. There's nobody else that has carried his team the way that he has and made everybody else around him better. Post-game thoughts. I know y'all talked a little bit about it last night on Hog HQ Live, but man, what a performance. We're back in the Sweet 16. And now here we go. Another juggernaut, another Arizona game. And hopefully we are getting to the Elite Eight.
100%. And I played a clip last night from Shannon Sharp, Chad Ochocinco Johnson, and Joe Johnson. And I think Chad Johnson kind of summed up a lot of people out there that don't watch Arkansas regularly or haven't. He just basically said, like, I've only seen highlights. I knew he was good, but I didn't understand until I watched the full game of Arkansas and High Point on how good Darius Acuff Jr. is. And then, even getting the praise today from Coach Krzyzewski on Pat McAfee's show, just talking about how NBA ready Darius Acuff Jr. is, arguably in the top 1, 2, maybe 3 players in college basketball. It's one of those things that we're definitely going to miss it when he's gone, but at the same time, it's amazing to watch. It's amazing to see him carry this team on his back, but at the same time, he's not having to do it alone because he does have a supporting cast and players that have accepted whatever roles they are. And he's still getting 20 plus. For Malik Thomas, who's stepping his game up in other ways on the court since the SEC tournament. And it's great to see. They've got a tough matchup Thursday with Arizona. Obviously would have liked Utah State to pull off that upset just to make the path easier. Oh, yeah. But at the same time, it's going to be a battle. Absolutely. You just hope that Arkansas plays up to the level of competition in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. You got 2 teams coming in to this game, coming off similar situations of close calls against lower seeded teams that gave you a run for your money. I mean, neither one. We're not coming into this where Arizona escaped by and blew them out by 30, 40 points. Both teams got a wake up call. Both teams is like, okay, we're going to get I think this is going to be the best Sweet 16 game of the weekend, because the simple fact of just Arizona has been number 1 all year long. We know what we're going to get out of Arizona, and to get a scare, Duke's gotten a scare. There's been a lot of these teams that have gotten a scare. I without going through the bracket and looking at all the scores, I won't contest to say that no team has just skated by through the tournament. I mean, look at Florida; they're out. So teams are getting tested by these mid-majors, by these teams like Arkansas got tested by High Point, and you had Rob Martin go off for 30 points and 11 threes. Or he shot 11 threes, was 3 of 11. This is where, again, Arkansas, I'm not saying got lucky, but you better be thankful that they had an off night shooting threes. Anderson 0 for 3, Housen 1 for 5, Martin 3 of 11, Fletcher went 3 of 9, Johnson number 99 3 of 8. Like, they did not have a good 3-point shooting night. And just like we were talking about round one, where they had an off first half, and then they come back and Arkansas took advantage of everything and cruised to the second round. You didn't get that lucky. And so, when you come into the Arizona game, you're going to get the best of Arizona because they are coming into this knowing who you are. And I'll segue out of that into the whole, we're talking about everybody talking about Arkansas now. It really, really surprises me that it's taken this long for national media to truly recognize Arkansas. You have the lure of Coach Cal. This is not a program that's some Johnny come lately program. So I don't understand why Arkansas still gets shafted after all these years. Yes, you only got one national championship, but they are up there. If you don't want to call them elite, I'll take that. I'll take if you do not want to accept Arkansas as an elite program, but they're knocking on the door. Okay. And my point is it just seems like now you get one or two, three people at ESPN talking about Darius Acuff. Now everybody and their mama's talking about Darius Acuff, so they can build their likes and quota and get people on their bandwagon. And I just don't understand. And it's like, I would be using that as motivation coming into this, opposed to, oh, now y'all want to talk about us. Now you want to sit here. We love the praise. Thank you for the praise. We love when Arkansas gets it. But it's the fact that Acuff has been this guy all season long. This is nothing where he's 14, 15 points a game during the regular season. And now he's doing this March Madness tourney run. And he's becoming the darling of March Madness. He's averaged more in conference play than he did in the non-con. So it just shocks me. And even with Joe Johnson, being an Arkansas guy, it's weird how it's just now trying to come to where everybody's talking about Arkansas and Darius Acuff.
Well, and Joe Johnson brought up Darius Acuff multiple times on Nightcap, and it's just taken the NCAA tournament to, I guess, put others on notice. I am surprised by it, just because Arkansas was at one point this season the third or fourth most watched team in the country. So I think some of that, though, is like we've all known and seen. It's kind of the Arkansas shaft, if you will. I don't understand it, just because whether Arkansas is winning or losing, the comment sections and the engagement stay full. Especially when it's an ESPN, a CBS Sports, a Barstool, Bleacher Report, whoever it is that's covering Arkansas. And Jimbo, to answer your question, I'm still just drinking the juice. I'm not chugging it just yet. And a lot of that is just me keeping up my guard.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was talking about the bottle.
Oh no, that's still sitting right here.
He was talking about the bottle.
That will potentially, knock on wood, be chugged. But I'm all, while I enjoy the content, while I enjoy the praise. I mean, it was kind of not shocking. I was just surprised to, open up and see Pat McAfee's page with Coach K talking about Darius Acuff, and it's welcoming to see. I think with these guys, though, and this team not being full of prima donnas like we see amongst other teams, you don't have somebody that's shooting a three and then catching a cramp and having to go to a bench. And we've seen where that team in Kansas is right now. But this is a team that does not have just a roster full of prima donnas. And so I think they keep the noise outside. They don't let it invade. And if that's one thing, if they are watching and reading and looking and taking it to heart or taking note, I mean, more power to them. I would expect them to. But I think this team has remained a lot more level-headed than I think people realize. And I think a lot of that can be truly seen on court with Darius Acuff Jr. Mm-hmm. The calm demeanor. He only gets hyped up when he's hyping up his teammates for something they've done. He's surgical. He's precise. It's business as usual, game in and game out. He is truly a master of his craft. And I think he probably takes more to heart seeing what the likes of Allen Iverson has to say about him versus what some Joe Schmo on ESPN has to say.
Yeah. And I'll say this, and this is not just to pump him up and join the club like everybody else. We've been talking about him all year. You know, you have those posters of the ultimate Razorback. They've had one in football and basketball. We've seen it at Kick there and Fayetteville. I would wonder truly, honestly, how much of those attributes you would put Darius Acup. He reminds you, he has a floor general sense of a Kareem Reed and the scoring ability of a Lee Mayberry, Todd Day. Like, he has that ability. It's almost like you give him the dominance of Corliss and the shooting ability of Scotty Thurman. I mean, that's where you have to put Darius Acup in that category of just how good he is. If he's having an off game, he's still scoring 22 points. And then he follows it up with a 34. You know, you got a guy going shot for shot with him, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to make sure that we get the win, and I outperform him as well. I'm not going to take the win and this guy outshine me. He got 30, I got 36. Mm-hmm. And you go back to that mentorship with Allen Iverson, that killer mentality. You go out there and be a dog, because guess what? You've got 40 minutes, and then you get 4 or 5 days off, and then you go do it again for another weekend. You know, there's no more this Sunday or Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday thing. You're playing on Friday or now Thursday, then you advance to Saturday, and then you're doing it all over again next weekend. So, you know, him having him in his corner, and Cal is a note. He loves taking the shine when it's the post game or when he's in a press conference. But you know what? Let him have that, because I feel like the other 90% of the time it's about his players. Mm-hmm. It's all about, how can I make you guys better? How can I make you play as a team? And it shows. It's not BS. It's not sunshine pumping, because you're seeing the proof in the pudding of how they're playing as a team. And once things clicked, yes, you're going to lose games. But, I mean, really, honestly, outside the Auburn game, and if you want to say they just kind of threw in the towel against Florida, I mean, when have they stopped fighting? When have they stopped playing as a team? So out of all the games this year, you know, you're 28-8, so 36 games, maybe a two or maybe the most 4 games. I mean, without just looking off the schedule, I mean, I'm go Auburn and Florida. How many games have they not played as a team and just given up? Mm-hmm. And how many other teams would have done that? So it shows a lot of what he is doing. He is standing back in the back. He knows what the talent he has, and he is trusting his talent, and his talent is trusting their coach. And that's what could get them a win against Arizona, and that's what could get them to a national championship. That being said, to the other point that was said about your chugging, guys, I'll say this from an outsider looking in, Razorback fans have their hand on the cap. They're waiting. It's going to take a national championship for them to chug it, because all the times they get so, I mean, you got to realize this fan base was a pop fly away from winning a national championship. That's how close this fan base. So they know anything can happen between now and the final buzzer of said game or the final inning. So it's going to take a national championship for the fan base to finally fully drink the Kool-Aid, chug the beer. With that being said.
And that's the thing too, is we still get into whether it's keyboard arguments, whether it's calling into morning shows, whatever else. Like we talked about in nauseum, there's different levels of fandom. And there's still people that like to criticize when we're not, we seem like we're not full on, you know, gung ho with everything. But I think that it comes from, at least me, I won't speak for you, but the guarded side of things, that I don't want to overhype it. I don't want to oversell it. because I'm afraid of like what's going to happen if, and so you know you get PTSD with what's happened in the past. But all in all, I mean, I would say that I'm on the side of things that I'm not going to say that's coming around because I'm already here. It's just a matter of let's get to the Elite Eight, let's get to the Final Four before we fully unleash things. I guess in that sense. But no, these guys, I truly don't think. And here's the thing too with this team, and this is just a little side note. If you don't follow some of the guys across social media platforms, the 6 to 7 guys that regularly play for the Arkansas Razorback men's basketball team, their biggest hype men are their teammates.
Amir Brown.
Oh yeah, 1000%. And I see other
there.
fan bases that want to poke fun at him. Hey, that doesn't fly because he's got a whole host of people, looking out for him in the comment sections too.
Yeah.
But outside of the fans, I mean, these teammates. There's one thing if you look at all the talk that happened in years past, locker room issues. Under the previous head coach that we heard about, we talked about on this show. We talked about the show, talked about it on Hog HQ Live. This is probably the last 2 seasons, and it's crazy because we only have these rosters essentially for a year, outside of a few guys that do end up returning. What Cal can do though to bring in the right mix of players that can band together and gel this quickly and develop a bond this quickly. And this goes back to the whole no prima donnas thing. These guys are each other's biggest cheerleaders. And that's what is needed to get this team to where it needs to go, on top of the talent, on top of the practice. But I don't think that there's a more cohesive team out there.
Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. You go back to his Kentucky years and the talent he had with John Wall and Anthony Davis and all these guys. Yeah, they were probably getting paid under the table. But now you're able to publicly pay them. You're publicly allowed to give them as much money as you want. There's no telling how much money these kids are making. And the simple fact that you got a guy like Darius Acuff, you don't want to talk about lead by example. Let's throw Cal out of the equation, because I want to give Darius Acuff more credit than Cal in this situation, because you know what? Look at Kansas. Look at their guy. If he would have played just a half the effort more that Darius Acuff, I would have predicted them to win the national championship. He is very good. Overall, if you want to go talent, I've watched all these guys play. He is more talented than Darius Acuff. I mean, just the body, the build, the athleticism, but he does not give his all. So therefore, he is not a better player than Darius Acuff. But you see his attitude, and when it gets to the point now you want to come in there and now you want to start playing it, you got to gel. And for this team to come in, you're getting them for a year. The fact you get them to gel and be this good, you lead by your leader. And what Darius Acuff, he is no nonsense. He does not, I mean, he rarely even smiles. He's all business. Now, what he does in practice or in the locker room, that's his business. If he wants to joke around, but how he carries himself, I don't remember the last time I've seen that from a player, and especially a leader of this team. I don't know how far we would have to go back to see a true leader. Now, you want to go Jalen Williams, the dog he showed and taking the charges and helping his team out. But I don't know of the last time we've seen anybody like this. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he said you got to go back to Kareem Reed or Joe Johnson. Just the true leader and the talent that we're getting from him. And if you want to give Cal credit, he does get a lot of credit. But I would give Darius more credit because he's the one on the court. He's the one, if the other team goes on an 8-0 run, he's going to be getting them to calm down. He's the floor general, and he is your leading scorer. That's where I give him, where it's not even a debate anymore of him being the greatest Razorback player, just because how he carries himself and the talent he brings on the court.
Number 5's at Arkansas.
Goats.
I mean, 1000%. Looking at the matchup coming up, top to bottom, Arizona, I mean, they've got 5 in double figures. They've got 2 more creeping up at almost 9 points and a little over 9 points a game. So this is a game that Arkansas is going to need more than, I mean, it's going to be all hands on deck, but more than Darius, more than Malik. I mean, Trevor Brazil is going to have what we've been seeing. Malik Ewan is going to have to continue to do what he's been doing. I mean, the double doubles from him or flirting with have been tremendous. I suspect, I don't know if anything's came out yet, that we'll see Nick Pringle in this game. And of course, if we can get 8 to 10 minutes out of Nick Pringle and get a few boards and block, contribute, but at least at the same time get Malik Ewan and Trevor Brazil a bit of a break, because Malik Ewan played 36 minutes, I believe it was, against High Point. He looked gassed at the end of the game, so that's something that it needs to be all hands on deck. And I think you're going to have, like we've talked about all season, 4 guys in double figures, if not more. But like we saw against High Point, I think you're going to need a few of those guys, not just at 10, 11 points, but you're going to need a couple of them at the 15, 16, 17 point range, along with Malik Thomas putting 20 plus, and A-Cup, if he can continue to put up a 25, 30 plus game, it's going to need to be all hands on deck.
Yeah, all 5 of your starters were over 34 minutes. A-Cup, Brazil, and Thomas were 34 minutes. Ewan and Richmond. Ewan is 36, and Richmond played 38 minutes. And it goes back to that Hawaii game. You win in that game 97-78. You having an easier game in the first round, because could you imagine if you had a nail biter against Hawaii and then had to turn around and you have this battle back to back? You're talking about getting gassed. Does Arkansas win the game? I mean, are they gassed? All these things come into play, and when you're talking about, again, the 3-point shooting for High Point. Now you get some time to rest for Arizona. But another point, I want to go back to this comment right here. Brazil, 5th-year senior, mentioned in a locker room interview that A-Cuff is their leader. If you want me to go 1A and 1B, the fact that 5th-year seniors are coming in and they're allowing a freshman to realize that he is the leader of this team, to realize and be humble enough to let him be the leader. It doesn't cause any drama. We've heard plenty of issues of locker room drama with the Arkansas Razorback program in years past. That is another top. If you want me to go top 3, let's go A-Cuff, Cal, and then the locker room presence. The fact that they allowed this freshman to come in and it be his team, we're seeing the fruits of their labor of him letting him, instead of it being drama or button heads or, well, he's just a freshman, what does he know? That will be something that won't be talked about enough, is the fact that your upperclassmen are letting a freshman lead this team truly on and off the court, and it has gotten you to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, because something like or somebody like Trevor Brazil, I mean, I'm sure he sees it and is thankful for it too. This is more time that he's getting eyes on himself and his last ditch effort to raise his NFL or his NBA draft stock. So somebody like Trevor Brazil, I mean, more power to him for being welcoming to Darius Acuff being the leader. But at the same time, like, this is furthering and upping his draft stock, and to continue to have games like he's been having. I mean, he's 3-point threat. Obviously, his blocks have been insane. I mean, his closeout defense has been tremendous. So he is pushing himself further and further up the draft boards with each and every game. And I think that Arizona could be one of the biggest stages for him at this point, for him to excel himself even further.
Yeah, and that block, I mean, it reminded me of Zion's block when he was at Duke, that closeout block where he was just leaped way up in the air. I mean, that block he had, but yes, you talk about somebody who is closeout. He is trying to get drafted. He's trying to get to play to the next level. and someone who knows that the end is near, it seems like he gets better and better. So I know that they've done nothing but rest. They've done nothing but get ready for this game on Thursday, which it says 8:45 p.m. They will play. It'll be on CBS against Arizona. And look, we'll take a commercial break here in a second, and we're going to break down, the matchups. We got the matchup numbers and stuff when it comes to this Arizona game. But this Arizona team's good. I mean, only lost 2 games all season long. But I don't know if they're truly ready for this fight that they're about to get from Arkansas. I just don't.
And that's the thing. Let them not be prepared for it. Let them underestimate Arkansas. And then let Darius Akov come smack you in the mouth and Trevor Brazil throw it down and right behind him.
Yep. Well, that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Hear a word from our sponsors. We come back, we'll break down the Arkansas-Arizona game, and then we'll talk some baseball, softball to end the show, and we'll be right back after the break. Looking to enhance your home's curb appeal? Look no further than Vision Exteriors. As your trusted roofing. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials ensure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community. And to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive. And I want to welcome you back to the Hog Talk podcast. And we'll go to the tail of the tape between Arkansas and Arizona. The stats for this year. Field goal percentage, I mean, it's pretty much even, 64%, 61%. And then three-pointers, big discrepancy between Arkansas shooting 21 threes a game, and then Arizona's only shooting 16 threes a game, shooting 35% on the year. Arkansas's 38%. Free throws, Arizona, you see the more free throws because shooting less threes, meaning they get the ball inside more. 26 free throws a game, 23 for Arkansas. and then rebounding, 43 rebounds. So this is going to be a different type of game. We know what type of game we're going to be getting when it comes to Arizona. We know the fact that we are going to have to limit the inside presence. We cannot let 2 or 3 guys go for double doubles, 20 points, 10 rebounds. We know we're going to have to move the ball, shoot well. You cannot have a poor 3-point shooting percentage against Arizona. Defensively, I mean, same amount of steals, one less block, creating more turnovers, and then the foul. So, I mean, outside the rebounding, pretty even matchup when you look at just from stats alone in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing here I think that stands out to me most, while it doesn't look much, what was it, the 6 point or the 6 rebounds more a game.
Yeah.
I think there's been several games that Arkansas is either right there or been out rebounded in. I think the offensive rebounds for both teams is going to be huge in this game.
Mhm.
So chasing after loose balls, we've seen a little bit better. I feel like in the NCAA tournament of guys not just turning around and watching or turning around and running back down the other end of the court. This is the time where your Billy Richmonds, your Trevor Bazils, your Malik Ewins can really shine when it comes to the offensive rebounds. And I think, too, that one thing that like a Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff need to do is, I mean, crash the boards. Too often we see somebody putting up a shot and sitting and watching it, not chasing after it. And that's something that just I don't feel like it's taught as much anymore, or at least it's not something that's really harped on that much, but that can make or break your game. So this is something that I think you're going to have to do something that you don't normally do, whether it's cause a few more turnovers or maybe start going in and grabbing some more boards. I will say, though, that so far in the NCAA tournament, I feel like games have been cleaner. They've been called cleaner, and I think that has a lot to do with not having complete SEC officiating crews.
Yeah, that and a lot of 3 shot. This is where it's going to really challenge Arkansas in a different way, because you look at their leading 3-point shooter. He's only shot 158 threes on the year. After that, the 143 and then 98 threes. So they don't shoot a lot of threes. I mean, they shoot for total. They've shot 585 threes on the year. Their opponents have shot 851 threes. If that tells you just what they rely their game on. But then you look at their scoring. I mean, Braden Berry's 16 points a game. Then you have 13, 13, 10.4, 10.2, and then 9-3. So you got 6 guys. If you just want to round it up, 6 guys almost in double figures. And then right below that, Anthony Del Orso is 8.8 points. So they are a very well-rounded team. Rebounding, it looks like Toby Awaka is your leading rebounder, 9.3 rebounds a game. And then after that, Modijus Krivas, he's averaging 8.2. We can't let some of these guys that are normally, I'll just point out Ivan, I'm even going to try to pronounce his last name, but somebody that averages 10 points a game and 4 rebounds. That'd be the guy that you can't, and I said this in the Alabama game, you can't let him forgo 20 and 10. You cannot let him elevate his game and double his stats, his average. You hold everybody in check and hope that, Acuff gives you another 30, but you have Malik Thomas giving you 28, Brazil giving you 24. I mean, this is going to be, I don't know the last time Arkansas has played a team like this. If you want to go back to maybe Michigan State, Duke early in the year, where a type of team that does just not rely on the 3-point shot. They move the ball around, assist. I mean, 600 assists on the year, and their opponent's 435. So it's going to be a different type of challenge. We know Arkansas is ready for it, and let's see how they can handle the task. I mean, it's going to be a tall task.
Well, I think something too that to be looked at is minutes played.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking here at Arizona. They have one player, and that's that Braden Burries that's at 29.4 minutes per game, and he leads the team. 27, or no, Jaden Bradley does it 30.4. So my fault. So you got but 30 minutes, 27, 29, 25, 27. I mean, so these guys are getting rest. And then flip side, you look at Arkansas, 35, 30, 31, 30. I mean, so it's something that is going to have to be watched. And you just hope that Arkansas continues to play how they've been playing and the game is called how it's been being called, to not get into foul trouble. I mean, the last game, Arkansas only had 9 fouls. I think they had Darius Acuff, and there was, I think, maybe Billy Richmond or another that had 3 fouls, and that was most. Everybody else just had 1. So I think that's to Arkansas's advantage.
Yeah. They shot 17 threes as a team against Utah State, and then Utah State shot 32. So kind of a situation where just like Arkansas and High Point, you got a team just, I mean, almost 43s in the game. But when I look at the minutes, you had Jaden Bradley played 39 minutes. Braden Berry's he was only at 26 minutes. And then your other 3 starters, Yvonne had 36 minutes, and then Motages and Koa Pete had 32. So, I mean, similar, but yet you got 2 guys that come in and give you 13 to 19 minutes. So it will be a minute still. But the good thing is this is going to be your first game of the weekend. And if you are blessed enough to advance, it's not like you're now having to play, let's say, a High Point on Thursday, and then this is going to be your Elite 8 matchup. You're getting this team when you're fresh. It's fresh on fresh. It's going to be an absolute war, and it's going to come down to lucky baskets, lucky call. It's going to come down to who wants it more, and a little bit of luck sprinkled in.
Mm-hmm. And this is a game too that in this mix of freshmen that have been talked about, Koa Pete is up there fighting for, I think, to improve his draft stock. I think the most recent one I saw was him going 18th or 19th. But this is, another kid that's trying to get into lottery selection. Could I see him returning? I could, but at the same time, I don't see that happening. And I still kind of feel like that Koa Pete is going to have or could have a breakout game, and just hope that it's not against Arkansas. But that's one that I'm looking at a Trevin Brazil. I'm looking at a Billy Richmond. Like, they're going to have to put the clamps on them. This is going to have to be a game that they don't let Koa Pete or Burries get going.
Yeah. And he's one of those players, looking at his stats. I mean, he'll have a couple of good games, and then, like in the first game of the year, he had 30 against Florida. Then you go to Arizona State, TCU, Arizona State, back-to-back 20-point games. Arizona State 21, 25 against Colorado on March 7th, and then 12 then you had 21 against Houston. So, I mean, he's going to be one of the players. He's going to step up to the challenge, and it all depends on who he's matched up against. How much now does this change the landscape of what does Cal do with his roster? Does he get, Wagner in there more to help with defensively, because they don't just run and gun and shoot 33s, 43s a game. Because let's face it, the one weakness for Darius Acuff is his defense. But when you're scoring 27, 28 points a game, we'll deal with that because he's making up for it in his scoring and what he is a floor general. But when you got a forward like this, 6'8", 235, and he's shown that he can step up when need be, that could be a problem. But so is 5 or 6 other guys on their team.
Let me see here. I was just looking to see. I mean, I guess you could put Ewan, because Ewan's really not a true 5. It'll be interesting. I didn't even see the other matchups. I haven't honestly looked at much. We do know that Kentucky's out. We do know that Florida's out. I had to throw that little jab in there.
I love
Um,
it. I love seeing them get whacked.
Kansas.
Absolutely
I mean,
destroyed.
it's one of the things are happening that we've talked about with some of these higher seeded teams. Obviously, we couldn't get Utah State to get Arizona out of our way, but this is a matchup that I had in my bracket that I have Arkansas beating Arizona. So hope it comes to fruition. I wish the game was not at 8:45 on a Thursday night, but at the same time, Bakers can't be choosers. We're here. We're not sitting at home. So I'm definitely ready for it, and I'm ready for the storylines if Arkansas does pull off the win.
You imagine if Vanderbilt would have hit that shot?
Oh yeah,
I mean, you talk about crazy how in and out that went. Then that would have been another one where SEC. I mean, they would have been playing Iowa. You got a 4 seed, 9 seed in the Sweet 16 on the top half there, and then Houston, Illinois. But for the most part, Duke, St. John's 5 seed are the ones that beat. And you look at that one. I mean, the last second shot, and Florida had a chance to win the game against Iowa. I really think. I don't know what the guy. I don't know. Did you watch the Florida game?
bits and pieces of it, and I saw the defensive breakdown at the end was Boogie Fland.
And it's like Lee, the guy who had the ball. I don't know why you're not trying to go up and get a foul. In that point of the game, it's like he was looking to get the shot to someone else, and then he ran underneath the basket and tried to pass it off. And you either got to go up or try fade away, or he just ran. It was just a mistake on his point. But yeah, I mean, then you have Michigan State, UConn. I mean, we're getting to the point where all these games, Michigan, Alabama, you think that's a football, juggernaut. Now, Michigan's a 1 seed, Alabama's a 4 seed. And then down there below, you have Iowa State, who did the Lord's work of blowing out Kentucky. They played Tennessee, and then Purdue, Texas, which Adam, I mean, it's crazy that Texas as a play-in. Is this the furthest that a play-in team has made it in?
No, Texas is the 6th play-in team to make it to the Sweet 16.
Okay, all right.
I mean, we're getting something. You and I have talked a lot about NIL, transfer portal, and what it means to March Madness, what it means to college basketball, because obviously, for the most part, football is king. So we talk about it with football more often. But what we're seeing here is in basketball, I'm not going to say the Cinderella is dead, but
yeah,
the top is evening out because of NIL and transfer portal. This is the point now from Sweet 16 forward that we're going to get the best basketball from top to bottom that we have seen all season long, because you have more balanced rosters. And that is strictly because of NIL, because of transfer portal. And I'm ready for it. This is, I obviously everybody's ready for the Cinderella's, the upset. So I'm just, I've been ready for just good basketball. I enjoy basketball more than I enjoy football. Not that I don't love football, but basketball is, to quote, the song from way back when, basketball is my favorite sport. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and looking at some of these matchups, I don't see, even the Nebraska-Iowa game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these two teams are very familiar with each other, but Duke, St. John's, UConn, Michigan State, Houston, Illinois, Arizona, Arkansas, Michigan, Alabama, Iowa State, Tennessee, Purdue, Texas. And if Arkansas does get past Arizona, you could potentially be playing 11 seed for a shot to the Final Four. Now, me personally, I'd much rather play Purdue than Texas, just because you get that Cinderella run, and the storyline and how their guard Mark is, former Razorback, played at Arkansas, now he's at Texas. I just don't know. I'd be more worried about Texas than I would be Purdue. I don't know if that's crazy, but I think Purdue started to change my mind, because I'm always looking for them to get bounced out early. They're that team that always just seems to flop in the tournament, and now they're in the Sweet 16. But either or, I think Arkansas If they get past Arizona, they have a very, very, very good shot. It's going to be harder to get to the Elite Eight than it is to be the Final Four, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree with that. Now, I will say I think that this Purdue team is better than the Purdue team that won the national championship with Zach Edey. Just all around, I believe that they're a better team.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I would rather go in to, if you're looking at Purdue or Texas, yeah, you've got game film on Texas. You played against them, but at the same time, I think I'd rather on a whim, on a kind of short notice, I would rather play Purdue in that matter. But got to get past Arizona first.
Oh, absolutely. And look, it's hard. I mean, you get to this point, you're looking ahead, and then you look even beyond that. Houston, Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa. How crazy would it be to play your former teammate or former player in Mark? And then what if you do get to the Final Four and you're playing Illinois? And it's just the fact that you get to that point with Big Z. Where's this guy been? I mean, that dunk where he almost gets dunked on, and then his speed. I've never seen him run like that.
And he got a fade.
Yeah,
he got a fade. He got contacts.
Yeah,
he found himself in Illinois. So
yeah, but it goes back to the chugging the Kool-Aid and drinking the Kool-Aid, because it's so easy to get to the point to where you're looking ahead and you're looking at this matchup, and when you could be on the other side of it, staring down Duke, St. John's, UConn, Michigan State, Michigan, or Alabama, or depending on where you're at, Iowa State, Tennessee. This left side of that bracket that I'm looking at, the light at the end of the tunnel looks a lot brighter than if we're talking about Arkansas and depth, and you're staring down, let's just say you got to play Iowa State or Tennessee, then you've got to wait on Michigan, Alabama. Then if you get past that, you've got UConn, Michigan State, Duke, or St. John's to get to the national championship game. Just seems like Arkansas got put in the right bracket. Again, I'll say it like I did last week. Outside of the distance, I think where they were seated and what bracket they got in, and even the Final Four matchup, if they make it that far, is going to be a big boost for them getting to the national championship game.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
But switching over, wrap up the show. Arkansas baseball, outside of the team, couldn't happen to a better team in South Carolina, getting just drummed 22-6. Arkansas, I mean, it took a miracle to win that game against South Carolina. And then you lost the Sunday game 9-4, but then, of course, they fire their coach. So, could not happen to a better program in South Carolina. So I'll take missing a Sweet 16 to sit there and watch South Carolina get their coach fired. And look, guys, if you want to go, get on the raffle. The raffle is lower than a ticket to the final of the Sweet 16. That tells you where we're at. Baseball versus Florida. The jackpot will close on the 29th. So get your raffle of $300, man.
I will predict when we have our Thursday show, I'm going to go on a limb and say it's going to be at $1,350. $1,350 will be not. That'll just be what's in there so far. That's not going to be the prize. That's just going to be the jackpot.
Okay. Yeah, it's sad. You talk about a fall. Yeah. I don't know what's fallen worse, the South Carolina baseball program or the Razorback raffle.
I'm going to have to go with the raffle on this just because of how long or how short of time it has taken to fall.
Well, and yes, that I'll give you that, because you got to remember South Carolina won back-to-back national championships in baseball. And now you look at their crowd. I mean, there was more people that watched the Marshals than the Gamecocks. So
let me ask this, the last little piece on baseball. Would you take the national championship and end up like now, not Mississippi State now, because it took a change in head coach, but Mississippi State fell off after they won their national championship, and we've seen what's happened to South Carolina. Would you take the national championship and then Arkansas have a fall off afterwards?
Yes.
I think everybody would. But
Absolutely, but it has to do with Dave Van Horn finally getting his national championship, and he can ride off into the sunset. Look, outside of, outside of basketball, football, this has been the most consistent program over the last 20 years. They just haven't eclipsed. That's why all they're waiting on is a national championship. I mean, football's flirted with being great. They flirted with it, Sugar Bowl, but they've never been to this point. Basketball, same thing. Outside of 94, I mean, you've made it to Elite Eights and you've made it to Sweet 16s, but you've never made it to that cusp of really believing you could win a national championship. So, and with how long Dave Van Horn's been your coach, for them to win a national championship finally all these years, he would be vindicated. He would get his statue. And yes, I think you would absolutely. I think you let him go off with a national championship, it would suck. You're going to have your normal fans. But I think if you was to ask the true Razorback fans who have been in the hog pen, they've been in those bleachers for the last 25, 30 years, they would absolutely take a national championship. If it meant we would never get to Omaha ever again, they would still take it because of the fact that Dave Van Horn finally got his national championship.
100% agree. Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah. But I think that in Razorback fans, I think they would trade that for anything in any sport right now, but it had to be the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Arkansas wins the national championship, baseball or whatever, now it kind of changes that. It moves the needle a little bit. But Razorback fans are so hungry for a national championship. They've been so close in baseball, knocking on the door in basketball, not so much in football. So you never know. Would we bring in? I don't think they would go that route. I think they would promote from within. And I know a lot might not be happy with that, but that you talking about dudes taking some criticism even from us, and for them to come out and respond the way they have against Mississippi State and South Carolina, it shows them they know a lot more baseball than we do. It's just how it is.
Yeah. And I've said for a while, I thought that Tony V would be the next coach, and whether it's at Arkansas or him leaving Tennessee to go to the Giants, we know he's ultimately going to end up back in college at some point in time. This was the easiest transition for him because he's not having to jump from one SEC school to another. So he can go to San Francisco and it not work out, and then he can come back to the SEC, because I feel like that's ultimately the path that's going to happen, and it was the easier path to take. I just don't know if it'll be in Arkansas. I'm kind of in agreement that it's going to be a promote from within.
But then again, I mean, you got to look. He didn't, the rivalry between Arkansas and Tennessee's died with him leaving. It's not going to be the same. I mean, that the rivalry that that one meeting at home plate between Vitello and Dave Van Horn struck that whole rivalry. And then the cockiness and the arrogance of the players on top of all that fueled the fire for that rivalry. Now that he's not the coach anymore, give him a couple years. And the fact is, you want to talk about another thing. You win a national championship with Dave, I guarantee you they would welcome him back more so how many fans would be like, okay, Dave didn't get it. Let's go get Tony because he brought one to Tennessee. I mean, you know how the nostalgia comes in. One, he's got Arkansas ties, and look what he did at Tennessee. So, I mean, he would be a top candidate. My thing is, would he leave the major leagues to come back to college?
I think if it doesn't work out in San Francisco, that's 100% will happen. I think it's going to be. I don't think he's going to go to another MLB team after the Giants. And if it works out for the Giants, we won't even be having this conversation. But that when the time comes for Coach Van Horn to retire, it's going to catch the ears and eyes of the likes of Tony Vitello.
And softball team, they are 27-4 overall. They swept UConn this past weekend, winning 12-4, 10-2, and 9-4. They play UCA in Conway on Tuesday. That game will be at 6 o'clock. If you can't get down there, it will be streamed on ESPN Plus. And both the baseball and softball teams will welcome in Florida to town This is okay. So baseball, 6 p.m. on Friday, 1 p.m. on Saturday, and noon on Sunday for the baseball. And then the softball Razorbacks will play 6 o'clock on Friday. That game will be on ESPN2. And then 7 o'clock on Saturday as SEC Network Plus, and Sunday at 1 p.m. on SEC Network Plus. So Gators will be in town this weekend for baseball and softball. So Arkansas wins on Thursday. It's going to be a nutso day on Saturday this weekend. It's going to be crazy even on Friday. The fact of you beat Arizona, then you're welcoming in Florida to Baum-Walker and Bogle Park. It is going to be an electric atmosphere this weekend. And by God, when we're coming back on Sunday and Monday, hopefully we're talking about Elite Eight, Final Four for the Razorbacks and 2 series wins over Florida.
Absolutely. And Thursday, yeah, we'll be here at 6:05 for your pregame show for Arkansas and Arizona.
Pregame show, yes, 8:45. So, yeah, we'll be here 6:05 on Thursday. Adam, you got anything else before we wrap it up?
I'm good.
All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of the Hog Talk Podcast. Again, thank you for everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you all of our fans and our sponsors. We'll be back on Thursday, 6:05 for the Arkansas-Arizona pregame show. We'll catch you on Thursday.